There we go. All right. Well, welcome to our practice today, and welcome to the journey of imperfection. This has to be probably one of my favorite topics to cover. It's the eighth chapter of Brene Brown's book, Atlas of the Heart, and it's entitled "Places We Go Where We When We Fall Short," and it really focuses on this idea of things like self compassion, comparison, and this feeling in the body when maybe I should have known better or done better, and kind of missing the mark on something and immediately feeling guilty or shame or untrusting of ourselves. And when we talk about it from a body perspective, in our body, often what happens is we cow, we start to turn in, and we kind of, feel that shame in our rounded shoulders. I'm really exaggerating here, but in our rounded shoulders, or even looking down and bringing our hands to our head, that kind of thing. The chest kind of compresses a little bit as well. Our breathing might get shorter, our jaws get tighter. And really what the lesson in is that falling short doesn't actually mean that you failed. It means that you're learning. And if you look at the areas in our lives where we feel that we failed the most, or we've had disappointment happen to us, these are the moments where we actually grow the most, right? When you look back at those times, you're like, wow. I always think of it as walking through the fire. And in reflection, usually it comes to me when I look back and I go, wow, I walked through that. Like I overcame that. And it lifts me. It makes me feel lighter in the fact that you can get over things that you feel are shortcomings. And it if we can, instead of looking at these failures as or these incidences as failures, I would put the inquiry in it. So I didn't do what I set out to do. Why is that? Why is that? The why becomes a curiosity. And it's in that curiosity and that inquiry that we learn, that we begin to grow. And it's if we can stay curious instead of collapsing, we will find that the lessons will keep coming. And they come, it's not to say that we're failing all the time or we fall short all the time. It's to say that we start noticing these lessons, these coincidences that take us a step further. And feedback, information. This is why I often say feedback is not because a lot of people don't like asking for feedback. A lot of people don't like saying, how did I do? For fear of saying, well, you could have done this better. When you start feeling that that is a gift and not um a shortfall of yourself, then you just keep improving. Then the joy just keeps rolling in. And I do this a lot. For example, when I run my retreats, I always ask for feedback. I always ask for feedback in testimonials and what. And it's not to find out what I'm doing wrong. It's finding out what I could do better, how I can manage um my practice better. And because if you're curious about that, if you're curious about a piece of inquiry, you better believe other people are too. I say, and I really love this, I think it was Brene Brown that coined the term, comparison is the thief of joy. If we continue to compare ourselves with what should be, we're always going to fall short. So let's turn comparison into curiosity. And through our practice today, you're going to have the opportunity to do that. You excited? So we're going to be practicing crow pose today. And again, this is a posture that is very demanding. It's not one that I love, to be honest with you. It's kind of low on my list. But I like the feeling of being lifted through my own doing. And I think you will too. And I think you will find that there's so many ways to do crow that you'll go, oh, I didn't know that this was actually a variation of crow. And one of them is using the wall. So if you can't get down, and when I say crow, it's the one where your hands are on the ground, your knees are wide, and you're lifting yourself up. If you fall, you're not going very far, right? If you fall, you're gonna laugh, you're gonna pick yourself up again. And I think that's what, falling short and turning that around really means. So let's start our practice, shall we? So we'll go back on.